All right, we're here live at the 2014 USTFCCCA convention. This is a special live edition of QA2 Max. Today we're joined on the set by Ole Miss coach Brian O'Neill. Coach O'Neill, thanks for joining us this morning.
Hey, absolutely. I'm proud to be here.
So, what have been the highlights of convention so far, and what's on the docket for you coming up at convention?
You know what? One of the main things for me each year has always been the Hall of Fame. I mean, just to hear what those young men or young women, what they did throughout their career. And I've always tried to take the advice of my elders and things that they tell us that are pitfalls. I listen, and I try to make sure that I'm doing those things, which is particularly make sure to keeping family first and making sure that you're out of the office early, and again, remembering your spouse who's always there to take care of the kids.
So tell me a little about kind of coming from a really established, kind of comfortable role at Florida to now kind of building a program from almost from scratch at Ole Miss.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it from scratch.
Sure.
When I took over at Ole Miss, Ole Miss is near and dear to my heart. It's special, and Coach Walker took a chance on me as a young 17-year-old and gave me an opportunity also to get into the coaching business. And it's just a special place. Mm-hmm. And to the outside world, it's hard maybe to understand that, but when Florida is what we would call is one of the pinnacle schools, and there was a great run there, and a great friend, great mentor in Coach Holloway. And one of the things is that when I left Ole Miss to come to Florida, it was like being a high school kid coming out of college.
Again, sure.
I learned a lot from Coach Walker. He was, in my mind, considered just like a dad to me. And so I felt like it was time to leave home and use what I'd learned.
Forever, right?
Right. But that experience at Florida and learning from Coach Holloway of how to put teams together, how to make a run at championships was an invaluable experience. And so it was a chance to go back home and to use all the things that I'd learned from both Coach Walker and Coach Holloway and use it on my own.
So tell me about the experience of this cross-country team this fall. I mean, you guys won regionals. It was the best Ole Miss team ever, and I think you guys have had cross-country for 85 years, and this was the best team ever, the first team to make nationals. What was that experience like?
Well, first of all, it wasn't quite 85 years, but it definitely was a long time. We felt all along that we would have a chance to go in and compete for championships and give ourselves a chance at establishing Ole Miss as a distant school. And I do have to give credit to assistant coaches. I mean, even from the beginning, in recruiting our first staff meeting when Gavin Kennedy was there.
It was at Wisconsin now?
Yes, and now on to Ryan Van Hoy, who's actually just picked up and accelerated in recruiting. And obviously it goes back to a group of young men who believed in us as coaches, that when there wasn't a distance program going, to jump in and see themselves as pioneers and someone that could lead this team into some uncharted territory.
You kind of have a unique background as a coach in that you competed as a mid-distance runner. Then at Florida, you coached the jumps. And now you're at Ole Miss, and it seems like you're kind of making a name with this kind of longer distance guys. How has that kind of range of experiences impacted you, and do you enjoy coaching so many different disciplines? Or?
Absolutely. I just love coaching, and it doesn't matter the event, and it doesn't matter their particularly even their skill sets. It's about helping young men, young women achieve their goals and their dreams. And again, like so many of the people at the Hall of Fame dinner said last night, it's about the kids, the student athletes, and that's what we all are in this business for, and that's why we're all here, is to be better at what we do. But from a standpoint of coaching all of the events, or from having had a background in a different event level, I think that athletics teaches us about life and going through adversity. And each event has its strengths and weaknesses, and they all have different issues in terms of what it takes to be successful in those events. And those are the things that I, as a coach, take from it. And those are the things that we try to instill in our athletes, is just that you may be down today, but it doesn't mean you have to stay down.
So finally, the last question we've been asking everyone who's been sitting in that chair is, this maybe more than other years feels like a change convention. What needs to happen in our sport to be healthy and viable and thriving, in the future?
That's a question that I think if you ask anybody here at the convention, you're going to get 1,000 different answers.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's the good and the bad of our sport. It's great that we're as diverse as we are, but by the same token, I think we've got to come together as a collective body and decide what's best for our sport, because it's a great sport. I feel it's the greatest sport that's out there. It's pure, it's simple. It doesn't matter if you're fat, tall, short, skinny. There is a spot for you, and you can have ultimate success. And I think we're basically a mirror to what
Society.
the U.S. and the world is, which is all of those different body types, and we give so many kids a chance to look, and not only just kids, but adults as well, role models, and I believe positive role models. And so that's what we're here for, is to be a light into the world, and to go out there and show that we really and truly should be recognized as one of the premier sports.
That's a very similar answer to an answer another SEC coach, Curtis Fry, gave us a few minutes ago. So,
well, Coach Fry is a great friend and mentor as well.
All right, well, Brian, thank you for joining us this morning.
No problem. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks.
No, sir.